For Spaceport, we're going to take in Droideka on player 1 and Ghost Yoda on player 2. You should still have extra toggle on. And when we first enter the level, we're going to jump with our player 2 as Ghost Yoda, kind of to behind Luke's land speeder. And then there's a little bit of a delay at the start of the level, but when we get the chance, we're going to swap our player 1 to Ghost Yoda as well. And then we're going to hop on the speeder. And then with player 2 driving, we're going to make our way over here. And then we can just use the panel here. Some people may be used to doing the out of bounds that you can do up here, but we're just going to use the panel. And then I'm going to show you this again because if you enter with player 1 as Droideka, then he'll just be on top of the speeder, which is what you want going into this next room. If you're not fast enough, then eventually he will fall off. But either way, we just want Droideka on here. And then as we approach this section here, we are going to swap our player 1 to Wicket, the Ewok. And then we're going to move over to the side. And then drop him out. And that does the de-aggro where these guys do not spawn in this section of the room. What you basically need to do is you need to get your player 2 past like this archway on the left here. And if you get them past that archway before dropping out your player 1, then you just get a de-aggro. And then entering the pre-cantina, we can make both of our characters Womp Rat. The other option is to just keep our player 2 dropped out, and then you can do a clip where you just jump over the top of the door there. Either way. But you should just have one player at this point in the level. You can move through with Womp Rat. And then a pretty basic section of movement here. Just triple jump up and then enter this room. And then what we're going to do here is we are going to do a triple jump that sends us pretty far forward. And we're going to try and be fast enough to hit the transition into the next room that the Imperial spy can't do anything about it. So if you want to play this really safe, when you come into this room, you can triple jump up to the top here and then do your triple jump from like here. This will play it very, very safe and you should have no issues. Really up to you though on how you want to do it. And then if you just triple jump really far, as you can see, the Imperial spy doesn't start walking until we're basically about to land, which will allow us to just walk forward and we're beating him by a country mile. And then for this next room, we're going to do a triple jump off of these trash cans. The reason it's off of these trash cans is if you just try to do it normally, it's going to be a little bit tighter. And so for movement purposes, to not get slowed down, it's just a little faster to do it from the trash cans. And then once we land up top here, we're going to enter this transition. We're going to swap our character kind of as the door is loading. You can start swapping your character to C-3PO. And then the sequence of events here is very important. So we need to get C-3PO to have 1 level of damage. And the reason is if C-3PO is on no damage and you force him with a character who has the force ability, then eventually he will just deactivate. But if instead you force him when he's damaged once, then he will keep moving literally forever until he hits collision. So we're going to use that to our advantage here by swapping. So we entered this room as C-3PO, and then by swapping to our other player, we can then punch C-3PO. Now this would not work if we had the player called in because we have the invincibility extra on. But if that player is dropped out, then we can do damage. So we're going to punch C-3PO. And then if you'll notice, there's these 2 little pipes that stick out here. Those are going to help us perfectly align C-3PO. So wherever he ends up, if you then swap to Ghost Yoda and kind of force just in the general direction of the pipes, then those are going to guide C-3PO to exactly where we want him to be. So at this point, we can just hold down force. And then he'll end up here, which is perfect. Because we want to enter the Falcon without hitting the trigger that would activate the spy fight skip. Now you can't actually walk in right here because you don't have enough space. But if you just swap to R2-D2, than you can fit into the Falcon. Now that does mean for our character movement in the Cantina that it's a little bit scuffed. So what we're going to do is we're going to start moving over with R2-D2 and then drop him out and then just swap to him with player 1. And then we can menu just player 1 as we enter Jundland.